Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we have a very special build. We are doing the Fearless house in my Eras Tour neighborhood. So I decided that since it's, the first week back to school for most people in my area, I decided what's more fitting than Fearless. It just reminds me of like going back to school and fall and football games and everything of that nature. So I felt like it was very fitting to post this build. So let's get started. So as you can see, I kind of mapped out actually now the neighborhood a little bit. So they're all going to be a bunch of tiny homes in this neighborhood, one house for each era. They have like little driveways and pathways, and there's a little road in the middle. There's going to be a tiny park, and I'm just really excited because I love Taylor Swift and I love the idea of being able to like bring her albums kind of to life in my own sort of special way. So you can see here that I've already placed the debut house, which is right next to Fearless, of course. The house is a bit more on like the countryside, obviously. This was one of her country albums. It ended up winning Album of the Year, rightfully so. I am known in my friends as not the biggest fan of Fearless, but I will say it solidified her becoming a legend. Like, this album is what skyrocketed her stardom, and it actually gave me some of my favorite songs from her ever. It will always have a special place in my heart, even if it's not ranked as highly as some of her other albums, but it's so difficult ranking her albums. I find it to be the most difficult challenge ever. It just kind of depends on my mood, what I'm gonna listen to. It always changes, and that's okay. The one thing that will remain forever is my number one album, and you guys will find that out in the video for that album, what my favorite album is. But let's just say Fearless reminds me of childhood. It reminds me of that like young, youthful, middle school sort of era. Even though I was in elementary school when it came out, I very vividly remember listening to this like almost every day of middle school, and like listening to Fearless. Oh my God, this is so corny. Listening to the song Fearless going into sixth grade, like, changed my life. And it just helped me build up that courage to like meet new people and branch out, even though my elementary school was literally in the same parking lot as my middle school. I wasn't going very far. And then you actually could walk from the middle school up the hill, like on the grass into my high school. All three schools were like right in a row. So, I mean, I don't know what I was so afraid of. It was literally a foot away, but whatever. Little me, I didn't know what was going on. I was very scared. But yeah, so the house now has taken shape. It has this sort of like golden yellow brick sort of vibe, which I felt was perfect color scheme for this album. There's a lot of gold in the album as well. So I incorporate a bunch of like gold accents in the home itself. But on the outside, I really wanted this like very bright yellow coloring, and I felt like it just fit the album aesthetic super, super well. The layout for this place took a hot sec. It wasn't easy. I feel like this house ended up being pretty big. Compared to debut, I felt like I just had a lot more area and surface space, and I don't know why that is. I think maybe it's just like the way that I built the shape or something. I don't really know, but it felt like it was bigger, and I'm glad. I really enjoyed that. It felt like I was able to give it a bit more oomph in it and really just take this house to the next level, because, this album is what did that for her. And, being so young in country music and getting all of these awards is absolutely insane. We won't speak of the event that occurred during this era at the VMAs. But, we know what happened. And honestly, it gave us one of her best albums, so I really can't complain. But, the whole VMA situation, poor girl, did not deserve that at all. Like, genuinely, it like still breaks my heart to this day. Like, I cried about it like a month ago. I was watching a video of it on TikTok, and just like rewatching it at this age, like, she was so young, and it happened when I was so young. Like, I was like in like fifth grade, I think. I don't even remember. I didn't really know what was going on at that point, basically. And so watching it back at this age, I was like, holy shit, like, that's actually really traumatic and like really upsetting, and alters, the way you grow up, you know what I mean? Like, that would change my brain chemistry forever, and I would never let anyone forget it. So she's so real for that, for never letting anyone forget that this happened to her, because listen, I would be the same fucking way. I would be getting my revenge. Reputation would have been so much worse if it came from me than her. So, I applaud her. But now you'll see the house is kind of taking shape a little bit more. It's a very big kitchen. I wanted like this country cozy aesthetic. So there's a lot of like woods and there's a lot of like weathered looks and stuff like that. I really wanted it to be like this cozy ass house that like just like perfectly encapsulates the vibe of this like little yeehaw country girl, from PA. But yeah, so now you'll see we're working on the living room a little bit more. I put in like the little cat statue. I'm gonna put a nod to a cat in every single one of these builds. Like, it just has to happen. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. Like, she is a cat lady. I love cats so much, and they will be a part of every single house in this neighborhood. There might be like a cat sanctuary in the park in the middle of the neighborhood. Like, I don't even know at this point. All I know is it has to be incorporated, and I'm sorry, but it's gonna. So now I kind of want to dive deep a little bit into like my top 5 on Fearless. It does change. I will be quite honest, but my favorite song from the album definitely does not. Like, I think my favorite song from this album will forever be The Way I Loved You. I just like, there's no changing that. I'm sorry, like it is what it is. But I would say my top 5 is definitely The Way I Loved You, Fearless, Untouchable, which is a hot take, I know, but I love that song literally so much. Shit. Probably Breathe with Colby Calais. I love that song. I think it's so beautiful. I feel like I have like a weird taste when it comes to my top 5 for each of her albums, and everyone always shits on me for it, but I don't really care. And then lastly, Forever and Always. So Forever and Always was actually one of my surprise songs, and whew, that changed my brain chemistry. I sobbed the entire time. I could not believe that that was one of my songs. And she did it on guitar, which was very unexpected. I think we all kind of expected it to be more like, oh, she's obviously going to do the piano version because there's the piano version on the album. But no, we got guitar, and that was absolutely crazy. But anyway, I would say that that's like solidly my top 5 from this album, with potentially sometimes Jump Then Fall kind of jumping in there a little bit. I feel like that's just like solidly number 6, but sometimes it'll creep up just simply for the bridge. Or The Other Side of the Door. Oh my God, I forgot about The Other Side of the Door. Okay, I'm redoing. We're taking out Breathe. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Okay, so top 5 is Fearless, Forever and Always, The Way I Loved You. This is not in order, but Fearless, Forever and Always, The Way I Loved You, The Other Side of the Door, and Forever and Always. Did I say that?
Forever and Always.
Yeah, so my top 5 is Fearless, The Way I Loved You, Forever and Always, The Other Side of the Door, and Untouchable.
Yay!
Yeah, that's my top 5. I stand by that statement. I'm not changing my mind, and no one can change my mind. But anyway, getting back to the build a little bit, you'll see here, I've now built out a little like office nook that has a bunch of awards. I just was like, this is one of the most awarded country albums in history. So I obviously had to nod to that and give it the success that it deserves. So I put that little bit in there. There's like a bookshelf, a card table, and I really just wanted like a bunch of activities because, Sims be getting bored. And I get bored, so I need my Sims to constantly be doing things and working on their skills and leveling up in their career, So I made sure I added a piano and stuff like that. That's another thing that I'm 99% sure I'm putting in every single build is a piano. Like, a piano and a guitar is what makes Taylor Swift Taylor Swift. Like, that's why I love her. So the fact that she could just like pick up the guitar or the piano and play any song from her discography is such a talent that most artists don't possess, and I really applaud her for that. Now we're working on the main bathroom upstairs, so I ended up putting in laundry, which personally, I don't know why I did that. I really hate playing with laundry. It really is an annoying task in real life and in the game, but I felt like I wanted to add it in there just because I love the look of it. I love the way that this looks in here. And I feel like it just gives, the bathroom a bit more of a purpose. And the bathroom was huge. So I was kind of like, what the hell am I going to do with this? So I decided, you know what, let's throw laundry in there. There's a separate door for the toilet. So, all right. we'll do this. We will add some laundry in here for the first time in my life. But I really enjoy the way that this house took shape. I am getting a bit fearful though for when I get to the bigger eras, because I want to represent them, as these huge eras. And they're only going to be like 2 bedrooms. So I really need to start thinking about like pre-planning how I'm going to make that work and make that look like the way I want it to. But I'm sure I will do it and get it done and make it perfect. So I'm very excited about that. The way that this house, ends up looking, I just love the vibes. I love the cozy vibes. It feels so bright and cheery, which, the album kind of has that juxtaposition of like bright and cheery songs and super sad songs. So I really feel like this kind of encapsulates that vibe where like we have the cozy furniture, but it's still bright and cheery. And I added in like the little lockers, little storage area, I guess, for your Sims, even though I think I use like the decor version, so it's really not anything like that. But I just felt like, that's very fitting for the vibes here. So I had to add it. The whole album screams like her high school experience, obviously with the song 15. And just like, I don't know, it's very much a growing up album. And you could tell that she, was taking a step forward in her life in this album compared to her debut album and approaching, relationships in life a little bit differently. So it makes me really excited that like I was able to really get that vibe in here. I put a little cheer mat also in the backyard because obviously she's the cheerleader. I'm in the bleachers, you know the vibes. So I just am so happy with, the energy that was created in this build and in this house. So yeah, downstairs is really fully taking form. I'm kind of just like at the end, I kind of throw in just like some last minute like decor items and stuff like that. But now we are upstairs working on the master bedroom, which is her parents' bedroom. So this album came out when she was 18. So she was obviously writing this album while still living with her parents. So I felt like, this is going to be sort of like the last house where there's a parents' bedroom, so to say. It makes me sad because that means she's getting older. But like, obviously. Yeah, so this is going to be the last house in the neighborhood that sort of has like that parent bedroom because, she's still technically a teenager in the game. So like she'll need an adult to live there with her. She can't just like live on her own. How would she pay bills? How would she do anything? But yeah, so I really love the way that this parents' bedroom turned out. I used a lot of the Horse Ranch pack in here, actually. That Horse Ranch pack is perfect for this aesthetic. Like, so perfect. I actually was so shook at how much I loved that pack. I really didn't think I would. I am not like a country person, like at all, which is so shocking that I love like early Taylor Swift, but like that was like country pop. But I just like am not a country person. Like at all. I don't listen to country. I never have. I never will. There's like a couple songs that I think are cute, but like you never see me going out of my way to put country on. That's just like not it. That's not it for me. And I just won't ever be that person. I was really shocked that I love the Horse Ranch pack. I think it's such a cool pack and the build and buy items are really cool. I love the idea that I can kind of build a winery now and, sell my nectar and everything like that. I just love that energy and I think it's so fun. But now we are moving on into like Taylor's room, like the teens room. And I made it so cluttered in here. It's like insane. I put shit everywhere. There's shit all over the place. And you know what? As a teen, as like a full-grown adult still, I always had shit everywhere. I was always a clutter bug. I loved making a mess and just like my room feeling like very cozy and like there's just like so much stuff around and I don't know. It just kind of gives me like a cozy vibe when I'm like cluttered in with a bunch of things. I know, it's really weird. I don't know the way my mind works. People are like clean space, clean mind. I guess that makes sense because I'm always a mess. I'm always chaotic. So I guess that kind of does make sense. It checks out a little bit. I don't know. I made the room super messy and I really felt like this fit her aesthetic at that age. And you know, a little mess never hurt anybody. So now you'll see I'm adding in a bunch of like the high school years items. That pack came in clutch here. It really is perfect. High school years has some of the best build buy items in the game. I stand by that statement, but it also has some of the worst gameplay. So it's really a hit or miss. It just depends on the type of person you are, but I personally love building. So for me, that pack is like really ranked up there. You know, for someone that enjoys gameplay, it might not be ranked that high. It kind of sucks and it falls a little flat, but that's okay. Not every pack can be a winner, and I think that's something that the Sims team really does strive for. You know, not every pack can be a winner, and they know that. So they're like, you know what? It's okay. We'll release it anyway. So anyway, now we are just doing some final touches around the house. When I tell you I went so hard with the clutter in this house, I sat here for like an hour and a half just cluttering. Like, I could not stop. Every tiny item that I was thinking of, I'm like, ooh, put that in. Ooh, put that in. And I really enjoyed the way that it ended up turning out because I feel like it just feels so cozy. It feels so homey. And there's a lot going on in this album, and there's a lot going on in this house. And I feel like that's just like, you know what? This makes so much sense. So, see, now I brought out debug, and that's where things get so insane because I'm literally sifting through so much shit. Like, when I tell you, I go through every single item and I make sure I'm like, does that fit? Does that fit the vibe? Will that work? Will this work? And once I do that, it's game over. It's game over because I'm stuck for an hour doing that. I listened to the album twice fully through, making this house. Twice. And the one time was simply just cluttering. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy behavior. And I know that, you know, I could have spent better time doing anything else with this build. But you know what? I really wanted to clutter it up, and I'm happy that I did. And I stand by my choice, okay? I stand by it. I decided that I'm gonna put some debug cars on the street to make it a little bit more lively. And the road is very small. I thought a 64 by 64 lot would be big enough. But when you have 11 homes that you need to put in one lot, it's not big enough. And it never will be big enough because 11 homes in one lot is crazy. But, you know, it's going to be a residential rental. So at the end of the day, you're basically only living in one of them. And it's just one giant neighborhood of Taylor Swift's. So really, what's the issue here? I don't think anything. The sad part is that I can't upload each individual house. I've tried many different ways, and if anyone has any tips on how I can do this, please help. But at first I was going to just build them each on like one individual lot, like a small lot, and then individually place the homes in here. It like won't let me do that because it just erases the whole lot. So I think I'm stupid and I need help because I'm like not used to like building one house and then like moving it into another neighborhood or anything like that. I guess I could save it as a big room, but even then, like, I don't know how I would do that. I'm at a loss. So I think I'm just gonna have to wait for the whole neighborhood to be done being built, and then I'll upload the entire thing. One as a residential and one as a residential rental for people. I don't know. I really don't know how to go about this, but I guess I'll figure it out at some point. I really don't know. But now I am working on the backyard a little bit. There's just a grill, a couple of rocking chairs. I felt like that was just like a cutesy little vibe, you know, for the backyard. And this backyard is packed. I jam-packed this shit with every item I could. I just like really wanted as many skill building items in here as possible. That's something that I always strive for in my builds, is like to make sure that, you know, there's something to do, because, you know, your Sims need skills for a lot of different reasons. And one of them being just so that way when you're playing, you simply just don't get bored. And I just like, that's something that I find that I struggle with. So I always try to make sure I have like 9,000 items in here, because if I get bored of one thing, let's move on to the next, girl. Come on, we're moving. Now I'm just doing some final placements of things and, you know, getting in a little bar and stuff like that. So now it's time for me to give you a tour of the build. Okay, so this is the beginning of our Eras Tour neighborhood, and you can see how I'm kind of making the houses like a little bit bigger as they get along, because obviously she got bigger and I just like, This is how my brain works, and I'm stupid, I'm sorry. So this is the house when you first come up. So this is the entryway, and I love the little wisteria going around the door, the little lamps in there, and then I put a bunch of these like little sunflowers in these flower boxes, a little bench and a bike. So when you first come in, there is the dining room area with a little bar. And then over here we have like the little cluttered entryway table. And then right here we have like a tiny little half bath. When you play The Sims, you know you always need extra toilets. So then over here we have our little cat bowl and just like a little clutter bench. Here we have the kitchen, which love the way that this turned out. Super country vibes, super bright and yellow. And then right here we have our tiny little living room. And I put like a record player, a songbook, a signed guitar, a couple little cat statues, and then the little friendship bracelet like making set thing that came with growing together. And then there's a bookshelf with a bunch of books, a card table, a cat tree. Oh, that should not be like that. And then we have our little desk with a bunch of our awards and stuff like that. And a little cat calendar right here. And then we have a piano on this wall. And then when you head upstairs, there is a tiny, emphasis on tiny, hallway with, you know, just like a shelf that, you know, I figured you would put towels and linens in. And then we have a little violin, a microphone to practice your music skills, and a little bench. Over here, we have the parents' bedroom, and very neutral with browns and yellows, a big mirror and stuff like that, and a bunch of just like country cozy vibes. And then here is the bathroom, which, like I said, I love the way that this came out with the laundry right here. And then we have the shower, the double sinks, and then a little tiny toilet room. And then here we have the teen bedroom, which has a little easel, a bunch of clutter all over the place, a big mirror, a bunch of like painted CDs on the wall, because this was kind of like the CD era. A painting that I would assume that like the teen painted, makeup on the floor, a cheer pom-pom, and then out back we have the fire pit. We have a outdoor like TV movie screen, and then a flower arranging table. We have a couple little rocking chairs, the grill with a little picnic bench, oh my god, there's so much stuff. I just realized like no sim can get back there. So I think I'm just gonna, I don't know. Wait, hold on. This is gonna go in the back corner. I don't even think a sim can get in there. But that's fine. As long as they can get to the gardening section, that's all that matters. And this is the full back of the house. And yeah, so that is our little fearless house in The Sims. I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button down below, and make sure you tune in soon for my Speak Now house. And I will see you all next time.